Coming up tonight, the Bahamas set to take flight as a leader in the aviation industry. This as a 3-year strategic plan is unveiled by top execs. Plus, trouble in West Grand Bahama. This as a local parliamentarian and party leader receives pushback in an attempt to beautify a local community. And later, our Jean Joseph takes us on a royal tour. Stay tuned for a look into the Bahamas Heritage Museum. These stories and much more as our news weekend starts right now. This is our news weekend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. As campaigning for the upcoming by-election in West Grand Bahama and Bimini continues on all sides, former Free National Movement leader and former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram was in that constituency today to show his support for his party's candidate. The former Prime Minister, who was on the island for a funeral, met with party leader Michael Pintard and the FNM's candidate Bishop Ricardo Grant. Ingram telling the media FNM supporters are enthusiastic, expectant and engaged. He also shared this about the constituency being neglected.
O.B. Wilscombe was the MP and a minister in the government for 12 years. 12 years for this constituency. And they could also see the neglect of this constituency in all those years. They can also know that the persons who were coming here and promising them what they will do in the future are the same persons who were in office when O.B. Wilscombe was there. We all know that O.B. loved Grand Bahama, like he will love Grand Bahama, and like Kingsley will love Grand Bahama. There must be a reason why it wasn't done. Why would people believe you're going to do it for me now, that you really need me, but you took me for granted all these years?
Be sure and stay tuned to Our News tomorrow for more on that visit to West Grand Bahama by the former Prime Minister. Meantime, Prime Minister and party leader Philip Brave Davis delivering his highly anticipated address at the PLP's 55th National Convention last night. A touching tribute was made to the late O.B. Wilscombe as members of Davis's parliamentary caucus joined him on stage. But before that, the Prime Minister touting the success of the gathering, calling this a 55th National Convention, a convention worthy of the party's 70th anniversary. He also heralded the success of his government since taking office in 2021. Davis talked about the fight to have our voices heard in our country.
While we have moved the country from crisis to recovery, with thousands back to work and unemployment at its lowest in 15 years, recovery is just a starting point. It's not the all and end all. Our economy has never created enough opportunities for Bahamian advancement and ownership. There's still too much economic power concentrated in too few hands. That's why we are the New Day government, because the old day left out too many of us. We need more ladders that lead up to security and success. We are going to help more Bahamians turn their talents into businesses and have small Bahamian business become big ones. Our government has opened the country's first ever trade office to help Bahamian entrepreneurs to find export markets. We are going to smash through the glass ceilings in the private sector, the ones that are limiting Bahamian advancement to leadership positions. Employers are on notice. Work permits will not be approved if a Bahamian is qualified and wants that job. Let them see the gold rush. Bahamas gone. And if there isn't a Bahamian in that position now, they better be training one to be ready when the current work permit expires.
The Prime Minister talked about factions he says have put a stranglehold on our economy that must be broken. He also talked about his government's fight on the international stage on issues including climate change, gun trafficking, and illegal sea dumping. He called for the next generation to advance the fight in this new era of Bahamian advancement.
I said before that every generation has to fight for progress. I'm calling on a new generation of Bahamians to become the heroes we need for this new era. You know, we launched a National Youth Guard initiative to train young Bahamians to become a critical force along our security forces, to help communities to prepare or evacuate, to work alongside disaster response teams, to aid in rescue and recovery. You can serve your nation and get job and career skills while training and serving. It was very moving to me when I attended the first graduation of the Youth Guard initiative in Grand Bahama, to see the strength of these young Bahamians and the immense pride of their parents. I want young Bahamians to understand, we need you. We need you to save lives.
A strategic plan for the Department of Aviation is now being unveiled. It was first introduced by government earlier this year, but our Joshua Williams reports tonight on the 3-year plan, which the department's top executive says is expected to position the country as a leader in the industry.
Director of Aviation and Deputy Director General of Tourism, Dr. Kenneth Romer, says the strategic plan has several goals, one of them to improve infrastructure and development.
Through private and public-private partnerships with our airport stakeholders, government authorities, we will develop and have begun the process of developing best-in-class infrastructure for what I call airports of the future, based on new technologies, cultural authenticity, and our commitment to sustainability and resilience. So you will see that we are not just building faster, we're building smarter. We're looking at ways to incorporate in our design components sustainable airports capable of withstanding Category 5 hurricanes.
Then there is enhancing strategic partnerships and engagement.
Our commitment is to continuously engage our partners on matters including deliverables and aviation policy. So when we speak about the strategic plan, you will see at the back all of our aviation stakeholders are involved in driving the outcomes of this plan. But not just our local stakeholders. We are proud of the work we are doing again with ICAO and the FAA and IATA and other persons outside of our jurisdiction.
A number of new direct flights have emerged from new destinations. JetBlue's direct from Los Angeles to Nassau are the latest among them. Rumor says while these international flights are important, local airlines are also major players.
Oftentimes we place the focus on our legacy carriers, but as we look at our strategic plan, it encompasses our legacy international carriers, but also our domestic carriers. So I think for the first time in a very long time, our domestic airlines feel as though they have a seat at the table, and they do, when it comes to decisions that speaks to connectivity across our region.
You can read more about the plan on the Department of Aviation's website. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Staying focused on the work of the people. That's the word from Golden Gate's MP and Public Service and Labor Minister Pia Glover Roll, who addressed supporters on night 1 of the PLP's 55th National Convention. When Roll took the stage, she encouraged PLPs not to get caught up in the negative political rhetoric, particularly from the opposition.
Don't get caught up in the cynicism. Don't get caught up in the negativity. The work was a mammoth one and continues to be a mammoth one. And we are making progress, and we are certain that we are moving our nation forward and in the right direction.
She also spoke about contributory pension for public servants.
We increased government pensions in 1 year. Now we're working closely with my colleague, Minister Halkitis, and our Attorney General in crafting and launching a contributory pension that will benefit public servants and improve the conditions for our public servants. Even if they decide to leave government, they will be able to take that pension with them.
After welcoming students to their new state-of-the-art campus this September, King's College School welcomed a very special guest for their official opening this week. Our Marlena Leonard tells us who in this next report.
Today, the selection of high-quality educational institutions in this country officially expands by one. This afternoon, we gather to inaugurate King's College School, the Bahamas, an institution that marks a significant step forward in a shared commitment to quality education. King's College Bahamas, as part of the Global Inspired Network, brings with it a rich history of academic excellence spanning over 5 decades. It is this legacy that underpins our confidence in its potential to shape the future of education in our country.
King's College School is part of the Inspired School Network, made up of 111 schools around the world, all focused on what they call the 3 pillars of modern education: academic excellence, sports, and performing and creative arts. Prime Minister Davis says,
"The government welcomes King's College School as a partner in our shared mission to provide the best possible education for our children. This partnership is a testament to a mutual vision for expanding the reach of quality education in this nation. I look forward to observing the contributions this institution will make to the Bahamian educational landscape as we all work together to mold the leaders, thinkers, and innovators of tomorrow."
Inspired founder and CEO Nadim Nasuli says King's College is working on ensuring children from family islands also have the opportunity to study there.
We have planned to build a boarding house on Love Beach next to our teacher housing. This will enable us to educate students from the family islands and attract students from Caribbean countries who want to be closer to home, yet still get a world-class education. We also expect to attract a significant number of inspired students from around the world who want to do an exchange boarding program on the beach instead of sitting in cold, dark London in January. I believe this will be a wonderful opportunity for our students and the country to get this global infusion and develop ties and friendships with people from around the world.
And he says their state-of-the-art campus won't only benefit their enrolled students.
We want this school to have a positive impact on our wider community, whether it is continuing to offer hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships or sharing our exceptional sporting facilities or collaborating with the Bahamian educational community.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thanks so much, Marlena. And now it's time for your first check on temperatures with meteorologist Ian McKenzie.
Thanks, Megan. Good evening, Bahamas, and welcome to our Saturday evening forecast, where we have outside our studios mostly clear skies with a temperature of 80 degrees. Lovely day across the country and continuing into the evening. Winds are from the east at 12 miles per hour, but a lovely feels-like temperature of 82. Current temperatures across the country at this time in our nation's second city: 77 in Freeport, 80 in Marsh Harbor, Great Harbor Key in the capital, and also in Governor's Harbor and Nicholstown, 81 in Arlestown, Bimini. In the central Bahamas, continuing with those 80s in Camps Bay and Arthurstown, Kid Island, 81 in Coburn Towns in Salvador, and a pair of 82s in Georgetown and Deadman's Key, Long Island. In the southeast Bahamas, we have 83 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, as well as Matthewtown and Nagua, a pair of 82s in Colonel Hill in Delectable Bay, Aucklands, as well as Providenciales, and 81 in Abrahams Bay, Mayaguana. Taking a first look now at our satellite and radar composite across the northwest and central islands. High pressure ridge is large and in charge, stable conditions across that area. Across the southeast Bahamas, however, we have a weak trough, and that will continue to trigger some cloudiness, possible isolated shower activity. Stick around for extended forecasts, and your tropical weather outlook is still to come.
And still to come on Our News Weekend, problems on the playground. A group of volunteers halted as they attempt to beautify a community park in West Grand Bahama. We've got the details. Plus, the legacy of a veteran former educator lives on through a foundation named in her honor. The details from Grand Bahama on a recent give back still to come when Our News returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Over the last several weeks, candidates and their party supporters have been canvassing the West Grand Bahama district, hearing the concerns and needs of residents in those communities. According to Free National Movement's leader, Michael Paintard, one of those concerns heard consistently was inadequate parks for children. It's prompted a group of volunteers to renovate a park in the Pine Forest community, but the effort was met with some resistance.
residents who were previously active were renewing their commitment to making sure the park was refurbished, extended with a basketball court, and that the long talked about road that needed to be pushed through to the beach to create a walking path for Bahamians, residents first, and then of course tourists, that it would be made available. As a result of that, a number of the residents sprung into action, and we agreed to assist their every effort in terms of sourcing equipment, ordering the poles for the basketball court, and of course sourcing persons who wish to help clean up and to rebuild the gazebo and to get new equipment to put on the park.
Pintard says they were stunned when the local government councillors and police showed up to stop the project from moving forward.
I was advised that a member of the local government came with police officers. No discussions about can we work together to make it happen, what the needs of the residents are, but simply to stop it. And so we are sounding the alarm that we will not stand down. We will continue to help residents as they identify in multiple communities. We've looked at 2 other parks that we are going to commence work on, and in fact have already begun discussions with the residents on how we would accomplish that according to their specification.
These 2 residents have been in the community for decades. They say they too believe the community is in dire need of safe spaces for children.
My whole thing with this is that if someone's doing the work for free, you don't care who does the work once the work gets done. And that is my concept. It's nothing political for me because I have friends on all sides, but this is for the children. So stopping the work to me does not make any sense.
I think it's essential that a park should be erected here for children that they can have some way to play, have fun, and enjoy themselves. I'm puzzled to see that someone would come and try to stop a project such as this. Give a reason why it shouldn't go on.
Micah Roberts Jr. volunteered to assist and shares what happened as he was helping to move the project forward.
Well, the superintendent just instructed us just now to put our machines back on the low boy and get them back down Freeport. Right now, this trailer going back empty. Either in the way or out the way. Because right now, we're doing something positive right now. We down here for free. That's what you need to understand too. They can't pay to get these things. These things, from what I overheard, 8 years. It's been like that. So right now, there's a bunch of foolishness they're going through.
The Cheryl Marshall Campbell Foundation giving back to the Grand Bahama community. The foundation is named after former veteran educator Cheryl Campbell. Campbell was instrumental in helping students on that island. This year, she also received a national honor posthumously, the Order of Merit Companion. She fell ill a few years ago and died in October 2019. Since then, the foundation has been giving back to the Grand Bahama Kidney Center, where Campbell was once a patient.
As she went through her treatment, we knew what some of the items were that were needed just for her, and so now we want to give back to the Kidney Center. It's always our thing to give back to the Kidney Center. We started out just with blankets. Now we're adding blankets and a bag, and we're going to add socks. We're going to add socks for the new year.
The Kidney Center manager sharing how the donation will be beneficial.
It's always a pleasure. The Marshall Campbell Foundation has, like she said, been faithful in their donations. And these, though it seemed small, these go a long way to making those patients comfortable while they're having their treatment.
On the other side of this break, it's all system go for a major international headliner. Entertainment correspondent Danielle Miller has the exclusive scoop on the upcoming Burnaboy concert. You don't want to miss it.
Over 5,500 voters
headed to over a dozen polling divisions.
On 2 islands covered by one network.
Join the RTV network starting at 6 p.m. Wednesday, November 22nd.
For the West, Grand Bahama, and Bimini by-election results.
Stay with the team you already trust.
Welcome back to our news weekend. After weeks of speculating if the Burnaboy rumors were true, on Thursday, the international artist confirmed via social media that he will be performing December 16th in Nassau, Bahamas. Our Danielle Miller spoke to residents about the news and got an exclusive interview with the event's project lead.
Well, it's official. Burnaboy is set to perform right here in Nassau. Social media went into a frenzy as the news was confirmed, but we wanted to hear what the streets had to say.
I saw the Burnaboy concert flyer drop a few weeks ago, and me and my crew, we were speculating, we wasn't sure if it's coming, but yesterday, it came through in a WhatsApp group. First thing we started doing was looking at prices, trying to figure out how we getting this done, and I trying to go. So if y'all got to hook up for the tickets, let your boy know.
I didn't know that Burnaboy was coming, and yeah, I would be interested to go.
I mean, it's normal. We can appreciate him for coming, celebrating, his songs, and make sure all the cheering come out and support him, All us is one. Just saying, all us is one, so, we appreciate him for coming and doing his little thing, Yes, ma'am. I'd love to.
Man, I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I work in Oklahoma City now in the U.S., and man, I'd be so excited to see Burnaboy in concert here in Bahamas, and I know everybody else would.
We were able to get exclusive details from the project lead for this event.
Overdose will be hosting the show alongside the Empress and the Mighty Pencil, Enrica C. They will be co-hosting the event. We are going to have an exciting setup. We don't want anyone to say, oh, well, I only could afford general and I'm not going to see anything. We have screens that will be set up for everybody to see the stage. The stage is huge. The stage is a 60-foot huge stage. So if you are in Abaco, you'll be able to see the stage. But what no one else knows, we are finalizing yet another mega international act that will be performing just before he hits the stage. So keep your eyes closed to our social media handles. Foreign currency promotions on all of our TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and soon Twitter.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks so much, Danielle. Well, still to come on Our News Weekend, meteorologist Ian McKinsey is back with your extended weather forecast and an up-close look inside the museum that once housed British royalty. Stick with us.
Over 5,500 voters
headed to over a dozen polling divisions.
On 2 islands covered by one network.
Join the RTV network starting at 6 p.m. Wednesday, November 22nd.
For the West Grand Bahama and Bimini by-election results.
Stay with the team you already trust.
Thanks for sticking with us. It's time now for your extended weather forecast with meteorologist Ian McKinsey. Ian, I see you also double as our in-house athlete, taking part in this morning's National Public Service Month Fun Run Walk. What were the conditions like this morning, weather and race-wise?
Okay, Megan, thank you, and good evening, Bahamas. Weather conditions this morning, almost picture perfect, almost clear skies. We had comfortable humidity. Persons were all ramped up and ready to go.
Awesome.
And all we had to do was just stay hydrated and stay the course, Megan.
Awesome.
Now, taking a look at our extended forecast and the satellite right now, we have not much activity across our area. However, across the southeast Bahamas, there's a weak trough, and this will continue to trigger 1 or 2 spotty showers. Elsewhere across the southern Caribbean, we have this area of low pressure. That's the National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on. Possible 10% chance for development, so not much to worry about. However, we'll look further into that. Now, taking a closer look at development, where we see in this area, there is a possibility. However, due to the strong upper level winds, if any system is to move within our area, it will pretty much not much have a chance for development. Taking a look now at our boating forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the Northwest Bahamas, winds east to southeast 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. Low tide at 12:24 a.m. tomorrow morning with a high tide tomorrow morning at 6:40 a.m. For the central and southeast Bahamas, we have a caution out there for you guys. Water's a little choppy, winds northeast, east 15 to 20. Higher in gusts, seas 4 to 7. Higher in gusts as well. Here's a look at your national forecast. And in your extended forecast, nice conditions tomorrow, stable conditions continuing pretty much into midweek when we have some moisture, and that will be associated with some possible tropical activity. That should clear out of our way Friday into Saturday, so we're looking at improving conditions into next weekend. Those highs sticking around to the mid 80s, our lows around the mid to low 70s. That's a wrap on your evening weather outlook. Megan?
On your race. You didn't tell us. How did you guys do this morning?
Okay, well, the two top guns, Thompson and Miller, they came first and second respectively, rather. And me, little old novice, I came second in my division. But I won last year, so hanging with bad company and talking during the race. So
you get them next year.
That cost me.
Thank you so much. Well, the Bahamas has played an important role in history. The British laid claim to the islands until independence in 1973. One royal who lived here during this time was Queen Elizabeth II's cousin, Lord Louis Mountbatten, whose former residence, Mountbatten House, is now home to the Bahamian Heritage Museum. Our Jean Joseph toured the historical site and brings us a glimpse of the past in this report.
Mountbatten House sits atop West Hill Street, just next to Government House. The colonial structure remains virtually the same as when builders erected it over 165 years ago. Today, the house is a part of the Grey Cliff brand and is the site of the Bahamian Heritage Museum. Museum manager Maxie Newland says many aspects of Bahamian history may be polarizing, but the museum's goal is to give guests an entertaining look at the country's genesis.
Basically, we start from the 1400s to the 1900s, so we have a little bit of when the Bahamas was discovered, the first group of persons. We have the plantation era that tells you about it. We talk about slavery, segregation. We also talk about piracy in the Bahamas, and we come into modern times where we discuss speed racing. And then our highlight is our Bahamian Room, where we talk about modern Bahamians that have made their impact.
Mountbatten House has had many residents over the years, including the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Winston Churchill, and Lord Mountbatten himself. While there are other museums on the island, none can boast housing such grand British icons. The house became a museum in 2015.
We went from era to era, era to era, so we had to do a lot of researching and a lot of placing them in the correct time area, okay, in order to get a full story of what the Bahamas actually is all about.
For the price of a movie ticket, you can take your walk through history on your own with an audio guide, or you can experience a fully guided tour that lasts about 30 minutes. Newland says the museum is entertaining for history buffs, but she also encourages you to come out and experience it for yourself.
This museum actually identifies us as a people, and if you're limited with history, just take a Sunday evening stroll or Saturday, come down and do the tour.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jean Joseph.
Thank you so much, Jean, and thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. We're wishing you a safe and wonderful evening. And before we go, I'd like to wish a very special happy first birthday to my adorable little cousin, River Jai. Enjoy your birthday.